Hey, Nish here, and a slightly different video for you today. I'm going to be showing you a spreadsheet I made to crudely track the price and transactions in a stocks and shares type portfolio. This is a very, very simple spreadsheet that I use for my own purposes. I designed it just for the things I wanted to track. And what you can do with it, you can put what assets you have, what kind of category they're in, so whether they're bonds or equities, or you can customize, picking regions, for example. You can look at like what the portfolio distribution is, maybe if you want to make increments, what effect that would have. The other thing I've added is what's called a unitized portfolio tracking, which I'll talk a bit more about later on. But before I do get started, quick disclaimer that I am not a financial advisor at all. None of this is advice. Hopefully that's obvious, but please don't sue me. So I wanted to quickly talk about this unitized portfolio tracking thing because I found it on a website called Monevator. Credits them, that's in the description. And the basic idea of this is instead of just tracking the price of your portfolio, you track a unit price. You track your portfolio like it's a stock. And the idea of this is you can then compare this to other benchmarks if you want. I haven't really got as far as doing that. I was just curious about it and then wrote a load of Excel formulas, and now I have it. So for example, if at one point you put more money into your portfolio, you can take into account, what was the increase in value at that point by tracking this stock price. And this will make a lot more sense when I show it in a demo. Otherwise, it's just confusing talking about numbers. Now, it's not the most useful thing because it doesn't tell you about real gains, like what your actual profits are, but it does give you some idea of what direction the assets are going in, I guess, and it's there if you're curious. But with that out of the way, let's just jump straight into a demo. I'll show you how it works and you can see if it's something interesting. Okay, so here we are in the beautiful spreadsheet. Okay, it's not very beautiful. Anyway, there's two broad sections. So the first section on this side is to track the price and put in transactions, and then the second part is about portfolio allocations. So I'll first talk about the first part because that makes sense, and I'll talk about this unitized thing. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit. So let's say it's the 1st of Jan and we've just set up our portfolio. So the value is 0 and I've just put in, let's just say £1,000. Now for the first time, you want to pick the unit value. So £100 usually works, or $100 or whatever. We can see that at this moment in time, we bought 10 units that are worth 100 each because we put in 1,000. Let's say a year's passed and it's now the 2019 in January. And let's say the value was 1,000, but it's actually risen up to 1,500. So now the value is 1,500, and that means our unit value has increased. We still own 10 units, but the value of each unit has increased because the value of the assets has increased. That's essentially the idea of this unitized tracking type thing. And then let's say I put more money in. Let's say I put in £600. Now you can see what's happened is we've added 4 units of £150 each because that's the current unit price. We've put in £600, and so, doing the maths, that means 4 units. And now we own 14 units that are each worth 150. Let's just say, half a year's passed and it's now June 2019. And now the portfolio is actually worth only 1,800 compared to the 2,100 it was. And we're not putting any money in. So if you put 0 in the in and out, that means you can just keep it as a valuation type row. One thing also that I didn't mention before, generally in this spreadsheet, things that are in blue, you change. Things that are in black, you don't change. I mean, you can change them. Obviously, I can't, feel free to rebel against that rule. So 6 months have passed and we can see our value has gone down to 1,800. So we can see the unit value has dropped, right? Because I've not done anything. I've not changed any, done any transactions, and I've not changed the number of units. We've still got 14 units, but because the total value has gone down, that means the unit value has to have decreased. And we can see it's decreased quite a lot. So hopefully that demonstrates how this unitized thing works. Like I said, it might not even be the most useful thing, but I just put it in out of curiosity. The other thing I added to accompany this is some very crude calculations on returns. So you can see them down here. And this is really crude. You can do a lot more with this kind of calculation. But essentially, it's literally just looking at how much money's gone in, how much money's been taken out, what is the current value, and based on the net investment, which is, how much has gone in versus how much has been taken out, what is the profit if sold, if you sold everything at this moment. And then it uses the number of years that have passed to turn that into a percentage, which is just, this is awful. I'm straight up say this is awful. You can probably do more. You've got all the information here to use any kind of calculations you want. So if later you want to do something, make another sheet and do that. Accompanying that, you've also got a lovely graph, because who doesn't love a nice graph that just tracks the unit value and the portfolio value? Again, it doesn't really serve any purpose, but it looks cool, Okay, so now we can talk about the portfolio analysis kind of section. So you've got an option to put 12 different holdings and put them into potentially 12 different categories. It's a bit of a pain to add more. If you ask me really nicely, I might be able to. Very quick example. Let's just say I've got some kind of global tracker, if I can type, and let's say I've got bonds. And so the categories would be equity and bonds. Let's say you can put whatever you want in these. Oh, I've already got, oops, I forgot to delete those. So the global tracker is 100% equities and nothing else. And the bonds are 100% bonds. Obviously you might have some complicated things that are combinations of different things maybe. Now you could make it simple like this, or for example, you could split equity if you wanted to do like developed and emerging markets. You can usually look up those numbers in your global tracker and then, you know, distribute them out if you want to track that kind of thing. Otherwise, let's just keep it simple. And let's just say we've got £1,000 of each at this moment in time. So we've got 2,000, very simple. We can see we have some nice pie chart action going on. Okay, so I've updated that. We've got 2,000 and you can see we updated the pie chart, which I need to sort out the formatting of, I've just realized. But very simple here in the portfolio, we can see we've got 50%, 50%. Nothing complicated going on. So one of the things you can do is in the increment section, you can say, hey, you know, what if I put in another £600 in the global trackers? Well, now we've gone from 50-50 to 61.5 and 38.5. If you're looking for a target, you know, if you're like, I want to go up to about 70% equity, then you can play around with this and be like, okay, maybe I need to put in about 1,300 and that will put me there. And the other thing I've added is if you take the distribution you've got to start with and the before, and you want to put in a fixed amount, then it will tell you how to split that across the categories. Again, super simple calculations, but it's just convenient to have it in this format. Now, I did have a think about doing more complicated things where like you tell it a target distribution and an amount, and then it will tell you how to put it. It's probably possible to sit down and work that out, but I just can't be bothered right now. But if you're interested, you could have a think and implement it maybe. The other thing I've added is a little percent charges thing, which I already filled in before. So 0.25%, 0.2% for my two. And then you can see that it kind of calculates a weighted average of those to show the total. Hopefully everything here is clear. If anything isn't, you know, feel free to drop a comment and I'll try and help out. And that is everything. Thank you very much for watching. Hope this was a useful or at least interesting video. It's certainly a different topic to what I normally cover. And I don't think I really have much more to talk about on this topic because I'm not an expert by any means. There's a lot of good content out there if you're talking about investments and stocks and stuff. There's probably some bad content out there as well, but you know, man, I feel like using this microphone like this, I should have some kind of sign off like a news reporter. It's a new microphone, by the way, and at the moment in this setup, it's the best I can do just holding it. But hopefully audio quality is worth it for me looking slightly weird like a news reporter. And thank you very much for watching. And yeah, let me know what you thought and subscribe for more To The Point content, and I'll catch you in the next one.